Hey everyone, and welcome back. I'm Rick Fussell and this is the Ingrain Workshop. Are your sanding belts and hand sandpaper sheets scattered throughout your workshop, making it impossible to find the grit you need when you need it? No worries, because today we're going to be tackling that project head on. We're going to be building a sanding belt and a hand paper storage unit. That's coming up next here at the Ingrain Workshop. So the first thing I'm going to do for this belt sander storage unit is just using some scrap 3/4 inch plywood. The piece that I'm using is approximately 23 inches wide. So that's how wide I'm going to make the unit. Lengthwise, I need to cut it here, rip it here at the table saw at 32 inches. That's how long it's going to be. So I'm going to do that next. So now with the back of the belt sander storage unit cut, we're going to take and cut out for the top, the bottom, the middle divider, and the two sides. And we're going to cut these at the table saw here at 6 inches wide. Next thing I'm going to do with some 1/4 inch plywood, I'm going to cut two 6 inch dividers, and this is for the hand sandpaper storage part of the unit. So I'm going to cut these two at the same width, 6 inches. So here at the miter saw, I've got the top, the bottom, and the middle divider here. I'm going to take and just clean up one edge, then I've got my stop block set at 22 3/4 inches, and then I'll just slide it down and cut all the pieces at exactly 22 3/4 inches, and that's the exact width of the back panel for the belt sander storage unit. So with my miter saw stop still set at 22 3/4 inches, I'm going to take the 1/4 inch plywood dividers for the bottom hand paper storage area, and I'm going to clean up one edge and then cut these at 22 3/4 of an inch. So the next thing I'm going to do is cut the sides of the unit, and again these are cut into 6 inch widths. I'm going to cut the two sides at 24 5/16, and this is going to be for the sides where the belt sanders are going to be stored, and then where the hand sandpaper is going to be stored. These side pieces are going to be cut at 5 7/16. Again, they're still 6 inches wide. So here I've just put the pieces together temporarily, just kind of see how everything's going to fit. I've got my 6 inch by 48 inch belt sandpaper here, and I'm going to take and make some 1 inch dowels, and then I'll screw into the back panel, and we'll put maybe 4 dowels across the top and across the bottom here for the various grits of belt sandpaper. And then this compartment down here will have the 1/4 inch dividers in them, and then that's where I'm going to store just hand paper, sandpaper. And you can see here on the edge where I was just building this out of scrap plywood. I didn't have long enough plywood, or I would have made the side pieces go the full length of the unit. So I did have to kind of cut in this small piece. So if I had it to do again and I had enough plywood, I would have made this a continuous piece instead of having this joint here on each side. So right now, I think for the belt sander storage area here, we're just going to take and fasten these with 1 1/4 inch or 1 1/2 inch GRK screws from the bottom here, and then the same thing on the top side. And for the bottom compartment, once I get the belt sander compartment glued up and fastened to the back of the unit, for the bottom compartment, I'm just going to take the side panels here, the small ones, drill some pocket holes in them, and then we'll fasten them with pocket hole screws to the top or the middle divider and the bottom divider, and then we'll take on the back side and screw some 1 1/2 inch, 1 1/4 inch GRK screws to hold those to the back of the unit. Before I can fasten the sides of the storage unit to the back, I need to drill out some 1 inch diameter holes. These holes will create access points for easy storage and retrieval. I'm going to use a 1 inch spade bit. I'm drilling 3 at the top of the unit and 3 at the bottom. These will be perfect for organizing my 6 inch by 48 inch belt sandpaper. So with the holes, the 1 inch holes drilled in the back of our sandpaper storage cabinet, I went ahead and just ripped some 2x4s down to 1 inch squares over at the table saw, and then with a 1/2 inch roundover bit chucked up here at the router table, I'm going to take and route this 1/2 inch roundover and make 1 inch dowels. This is again just 2x4 Southern pine. But instead of feeding it all the way through, that's going to give you a rounded surface. I'm going to take maybe a couple inches from the end and then feed it through that, and then stop before I go to the very end. That way I'll have flat square surfaces on both ends of the dowel. That way when it becomes round, it's not so much important on the first 3 passes, but on that 4th pass you're going to lose the reference point. And you won't have a 90-degree angle anywhere, and it'll just be a round cylinder. So if you cut it all the way from end to end, it would want to rotate and spin. So just make sure you come back about 1 inch or 2 at the beginning of the cut, and then also at the end of the cut. So now with the 1 inch dowel created over at the router table, I'm going to go over to the miter saw and cut off the square ends. I'm also going to taper one end of the dowel so it will fit in a 1 inch socket that I'm going to chuck up in my drill. And then I'm going to use this to hand sand the dowel to about 180 grit. That way it'll remove any splinters. Now back here at the miter saw, now that we've got our 1 inch dowels sanded smooth, we're going to take and cut them to a length of 6 3/4 inches. This is going to allow the dowel to sit within the back 3/4 of an inch and then protrude out 6 inches the width of our belt sandpaper. So here at the belt sander, I'm just going to sand just a small bevel on one end of the dowel, and this will be the end that we slide the sandpaper over. The dowel that end of the dowel that we're going to put into the back of the unit, I'm just going to leave it a 90-degree angle. Next, using some Titebond 2 wood glue, I'm going to take and glue the dowels to the back of the unit. And again, I'm just going to use a 90-degree square just to make sure that they're perpendicular to the back of the unit. Next, I'm going to drill pocket holes into the side panels of the hand sandpaper storage compartment. This way I can fasten the sides to the bottom and also to the back of the storage unit. With the unit on its face, I'm going to go around and pre-drill and countersink for some screws all along the back perimeter of the storage unit, and then using 1.5" GRK screws, I'm just going to use those to fasten the 3/4 inch back to the actual unit. Next, I'm going to glue and screw the hand paper storage compartment to the bottom of the unit. Next, I'm going to measure the inside dimension of the hand sandpaper storage compartment. That way I can get the measurement that I need to cut the actual horizontal dividers. And then over at my miter saw station, I'm going to set up that dimension, which was 21 1/4 strong. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut the actual horizontal dividers here at the miter saw. Now I'm going to take my horizontal dividers and just dry fit them inside the compartment just to make sure they're going to fit. And this is just personal preference. I'm using this for hand sandpaper. You could set these up for your disc sandpaper, just whatever your needs are. And I'm going to have 3 vertical dividers, one on each end and then one in the middle. And that's going to allow me to store 8.5 by 11 sheets of hand sandpaper to the bottom compartment of the unit. So here at the miter saw, I've got my stop set up at 25.5 strong, but keep in mind I'm using a 20-inch spacer, so my vertical dividers are only going to be 5.5 strong inches high within the actual compartment. And then once I get these cut out here at the miter saw, I'll take them back over to the unit and dry fit them to make sure they're going to fit. At the table saw here with my miter gauge, I'm going to cut 2 slots, 1/4 inch slots into the vertical dividers, and that's where the horizontal dividers are going to land. And I'm going to cut halfway through the vertical dividers. Once I get the grooves cut, I will do a test fit with one of the horizontal dividers just to make sure that I've got the cut wide enough for the horizontal divider to fit in. With the vertical dividers cut, I'll do the same thing with the horizontal divider. So with the horizontal dividers, I'm going to have to cut the groove at the very end on both ends of the horizontal divider, and then I'm going to cut one groove right in the middle. So that's going to give me 2 compartments, I guess 2 vertical compartments and then 3 horizontal compartments for the sandpaper storage compartment. So with the grooves cut, I'll go ahead and install the vertical and horizontal dividers. Now I'm not going to permanently affix these to the unit because I want the versatility to be able to come back and modify something in the future if I want to change something. This will just give me the ability to change it, and it's just holding sandpaper, so I don't think it really has to be permanently affixed. With the unit now pretty much complete, a quick sanding pass smooths out the edges and ensures you won't get splinters while grabbing your sandpaper. And this is also going to prep the unit for staining. To give this unit a professional finish, I'm using my favorite stain, Minwax Golden Pecan. It brings out the grain beautifully and matches the rest of my shop storage units. Once the stain is dry, I'm sealing it with an oil-based wipe-on polyurethane for durability. This will protect the wood from wear and tear, especially in a workshop environment. With the finish cured, it's time to mount the unit on the wall. I'm using sturdy screws to ensure it stays put. Then it's the fun part, organizing. Now everything has its place and finding the right grit is a breeze. And there you have it. This is the finished product. Now, off camera, I did use my Brother label maker and went ahead and labeled all the different grits. So now I know where all my sandpaper is at all times, and I can just conveniently come over here and grab either the belt sandpaper or the hand sandpaper and immediately get the grit that I need. I also store my sponges here, and I've got this little mouse pad hand sander that I use with random orbital sandpaper. So it's a very convenient storage unit, and I highly recommend, if you don't have one in your workshop, to build one similar to this. Well, there you have it, a simple, functional storage solution to all your sanding belt and hand sandpaper storage needs. Now, if you like the project, then please leave the video a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel and you like DIY and woodworking projects, then I highly recommend that you hit that subscribe button. It's free and painless, and I'd also ask that you ring that bell icon. That way you'll be notified of all our upcoming videos. To all my existing subscribers, I really appreciate all the support you've given this channel. If you'd like to support the channel even further, then please click on the affiliate links. That really helps us out, and I'll leave those in the video description below. And then if you're really feeling generous, you can always leave us a super thanks. We greatly appreciate all the support everyone gives this channel. Again, I'm Rick with the Ingrain Workshop. Until next time, have a wonderful day and God bless.